Vidhammer Fantasy.
Welcome back to Vidhammer. I'm Spudlow, and in this video I will be painting the Skaven Warp Lightning Cannon. The particular cannon that I'm painting is one that I've had for quite a while, and I've been using it in my games. As such, it's already assembled and been primed with the Games Workshop Brown Primer. But this will end up saving me a step when we come to painting the actual structure, which is the first part. Since I was fond of a few pictures I saw in the Skaven heraldry book that had patchwork jobs for the structure of the Warp Lightning Cannon made with different colors of wood, obviously different types, I've decided to try to mimic the same technique. I started out by using Scorched Brown to paint a few of the random strut pieces and pieces on the wheels as well. I move on to do the same thing with Eshin Gray for a few more of the random pieces for the wood structure. This way, after it's washed, we should have 3 different tones of wood being used from different areas, used to patch up pieces that have broken over time. The next step is the very long and painstaking process of painting all of the metal plates and the wheel struts for the entire model. This step takes a considerable amount of time, but it's definitely worth it in the end result. Just put on a YouTube video or check out Netflix and listen away. I personally have been listening to Breaking Bad. Interesting show. With the metal done, I've decided to move on to the Warpstone pieces, since I want to dry brush these and I'd like to get that out of the way before I come back and do the copper on the barrel. I start with Dark Angel's Green, and then as I move on to the dry brushing part, I end up getting a phone call, and when I come back, I don't put the camera off of pause. So I end up missing a significant part of this, where I dry brush the Warpstone with Goblin Green. Then I come back and paint the outer portion of the barrel and the attachments onto the hunk of Warpstone, along with a few of the cog pieces with a Hachette Copper. Next up was washing all of the copper pieces with Athonian Camo Shade, and then going through all the rest of the model, all of the wood framing and all of the metal plates, with a very generous portion of Agrax Earthshade. I paint all of the tubing pieces with originally a mix of Chaos Black and Scrag Brown at about a 1:3 ratio, but it didn't differ from the wood tones enough, so I came back over that with the Dark Angel's Green with a little bit of black in it, and that had a much better effect in my opinion. As my final step, I touch up a few mistakes that I've made, and I go through highlighting all of the metal pieces with chainmail. I do this with a sticky brush rather than a dry brush. This is just a little bit of paint on the brush, and you drag it across the surfaces, trying to pull out the edges of all the metal plates and the wheels. To do this individually would have taken considerably more time, so I decided to use this technique to save my sanity. At the end, I could go back over this, especially all of the wood parts, with another coat of wash and use a very fine tipped brush and try to get into the grooves. This would be a much better looking effect at the end, but it's going to take a considerable amount of time, which I just don't have the patience for, unfortunately. So this is my final result. It doesn't have the crew on it. I'll probably save that for a later time. That's why there's a small unpainted notch on top of the copper barrel. That's where one of the crew members is actually going to stand. But we'll save that for a different time. That's the first video painting from Vidhammer. Hope you guys liked it. Do me a favor and subscribe, like the video if you want to see more, and leave me some comments if you have some techniques you'd like to see me try. Till next time from Vidhammer, this is Spudlow saying, keep painting.